we're just here. It's like if you come to my house, you pick up a book. I'm like, okay, take it. You know, it's the share. You know, it's the share. It's like whatever knowledge I have, it should be shared. I'm just not here to keep it for myself. I think that's how we grow as a tribe. Is we share the knowledge. You know, and and that's the thing. We share the knowledge.
And talking about knowledge, because obviously a lot of people know who you are, but a lot don't as well. And I just want people to understand that. And again, that's not for you to say; it's for me to say. You're in the presence of indeed a royalty when it comes to this music industry, and not trying to blow you off in any way, but it's facts and matters. We talk about 4 decades of music. Somebody who has gathered immense accolades, and you've managed to strip yourself from these kind of considerations and always maintain this humility and just this drive, as you say, of not criticizing, but always refreshing your envelope. Yeah. And maintaining Yoruba Records, your label. Yeah. One of the leading labels in the electronic music industry.
Yeah, I think I think for other people, I think we have at this point we have our core people that get it. There's a lot of people that don't really follow anymore because they like the old stuff, and that's cool too. I think what's important for me is to leave, these are my babies. I don't have kids. These are my children. This is the closest thing that comes out of me. This is when I'm gone. This is what's left. So I want to express every facet of sound that I can gather that interests me, and that, I hear from others, to give others a vehicle that they want to do something else, or, so yeah, I'm just stretching out, man. I mean, it's always been the thing for me. Like, when I started the label, it was an interesting thing. I started it with Tommy Musto, and I remember him saying, man, you can't be the only artist on the label. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, what happens if your shit doesn't work? I'm like, oh yeah. So I started finding artists, and and then that became really more important. So, artists like you and I was like, okay, well, this artist, this sound is going to carry the label to another thing, not just me. And so it's also the impact of what Abria's offering is done, or a big thing is done, or anything. It's like every little thing catapults it to the next thing for me. So I'm always because that's something that I can't do. I can't make it the big thing. It's not in me, but I could hear it and love it and go, yes, that's definitely for the label. And but
don't you think that, not to cut you, Papa, but like there was something always very amazing about Yoruba. You never really had to hire any PR companies. No, it's like Yoruba, he's such a staple in the game that whatever you drop, anyone who would, I don't know about now because everything is so like bastardized, but like I remember I got in the game right before it all went a little bit, I wouldn't say bad, but everything went free. And you were one of the first to say music is going to be free. I remember you said, Boddhi, this shit that we're doing is going to be free. Yeah. And you were one of the few first guys to actually talk about that in our scene. And it's like, wow. Yeah. Nobody really saw that coming, and it's like, but you never had to pay for a PR company. Anyone would come on the label.
I always thought I'm here to do good music. If the music is good, the people will buy it. If and again, my theory when I left the major labels, I told myself, you make music for yourself. You make music for when you're not here, because the sad thing about humans is we don't appreciate ourselves when we're here. We'll get into Fela when he's dead. When we realize there's no more coming. So then we go in the vaults and go, okay, what did they leave? So I'm like, okay, when you go to my vaults, you'll be like, oh, damn, he did this kind of thing. He did this kind of thing. Yeah. So I tell people, I make music for when I'm dead, because that's when you're going to get it. Right now, I'm just getting it out of me. You worry about it later. It'll be there. And I think that for me has always been the point. Like, you just worry about the music. The rest will come. I sign artists that are really overzealous, and they want, they do videos. That's great. They do all this PR and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, your sales is still the same, because music, we don't make money from music. We make money from gigging, and the music is the promotion of the gigs, and
but isn't that the old format though? Now, especially with this pandemic that kicked in.
The old format was you put a single out, you go out in the gig, you promote the single, then the album comes out, you promote the album, but in our time, because we're after Napster, we're after Napster and the free thing, and then what did it become? It became Apple Music, buying the track, track source, whatever. Now it's streaming where we don't get, what is it, less than a penny per stream.
Yeah,
so it's about the music. So when you focus on that, or at least for myself, then I've never, I've tried to at some points with even Pete from BBE, hey, let me look up with it. Give me a good PR guy, and I'll get involved. And you spend all this money, and you're like, that deemed me absolutely nothing more than the people that are already involved. And that's the good thing about independent music. Your tribe is your tribe. You can't. They're always going to be there. I mean, you're like, when you clicked on this thing, your tribe is going to be there. That thing, and so that's the focus for me. Just staying honest and hoping that eventually more people get involved with what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, again, it's just about creating music that is honest and makes you feel like, all right, I got that out of me. Now what else can I do? But I met that person, and now we did that thing. Then let me see whatever the next thing is.
But okay, you spoke about some very important things here, and I think it would be interesting to put some perspective on. You spoke about that at length. Maybe you might not want to go too deep into it, but at least explain maybe just to refresh a little bit the memories, some of the things that you have done that actually pushed you to decide to go towards the decision of launching your own independent company.
Yeah. So I was a young producer in Hollywood. And I think I was doing it probably about 4 or 5 years. And I produced some pretty big artists, Eric Benet.
Got Band, Massey Gray.
No, Massey Gray. No. Patti LaBelle, Freddie Jackson, Najee. Back in the day, it was all the New Jack Swing artists. So a lot of that stuff.
Music Soul Child, though. You did.
Music Soul Child. Did some stuff for Indy RE, Vivian Green. So that scene was, as a young kid in Hollywood, you're struggling, but you're also hustling. So your hustle is like, because it's on the rag, man. So when I got in the business, my idea was, you try to get the biggest hit, become that dude, and get paid, and the business isn't nice. So I got slapped really hard at about 24, and then I took a spiritual sabbatical and became a Yoruba priest. And I think about 2 years later, I got an offer from Tommy, because he had a distribution company in New York called Northcott, where he distributed pretty much every New York label, Suburban, Fourth Floor, what else? Sulfuric. Most of those New Yorks, all the Kenny Dope stuff, pretty much every New York. So he just had this slew of records that he was pressing, and just for everybody else. And so I took, like you, I took a tape up there of some old house stuff I did. He was like, "Oh man, it's cool. You want to start a label?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so that was how the label started.
Was that the Soul Jazz era, or what?
No. This was the beginning. This was '99, December '99. Wow. So after a year of releasing on the label. Between that year of releasing on the label, we were doing great. Like by the third single, we were selling like 10,000 copies a single, a vinyl.
Okay.
That was pretty average back then.
That was massive. How much a copy, though?
A bad record was like 4,000 copies.
But how much a copy?
Back then, probably about $10. But it would probably cost about $2 to make back then, because it was so many presses and so many distributions. Back then vinyl was king. So And so during that year, the label really kicked off, and so I got support from Body and Soul, Danny Crivet, Timmy Regisford, Joe Clausell. They started playing this stuff and putting them on the compilation. So that helped out a lot. But I started doing a lot of remixes. I think I did like 10 or 13 remixes in that first year after the label, because everybody started hitting me up to do remixes. So I started seeing that the labels that I was doing remixes on were selling better than my own shit. I was like, okay, I'm saturating my stuff too much, and this distribution company isn't doing what they're supposed to do, because it's not the music, obviously. It's the horse.
Yeah.
So then I was out with Shiji in London. I was in a gig in London.
Salute.
Yeah, in 2001, and I had some records in my bag, and we went to. So he's like, I got to take you to this record shop. He took me to Soul Jazz. Soho, and Stuart, the owner, came down and was like, "Oh yeah, I love you records." He was like, "I'll buy everything you have." So he bought everything. And he was like, and I was like, "Yo, you ever?" Because Soul Jazz, they were always a compilation label, like most labels back then. So I was like, "I love this label. It would be great. Have you ever thought about doing a original album on your label?" And it's like, "No, we never thought about it." So anyway, we talked about it and we made a deal up, and then that's how the Soul Jazz thing happened. And yeah, from there, that's kind of how my DJ career started as well. I mean, I'd been DJing, growing up or whatever in hip hop bands or whatever, but never like professionally the DJ or whatever. But yeah, that's how that all happened. And after that, it was like
rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, then I took the label to Soul Jazz, and that was about 5 years. And then from there, defected and still defected, which is basically Warner Brothers as far as distribution. So all the vinyl now I do myself, and so running the two labels, kind of good, but stressful at sometimes. But yeah,
at a certain point, I remember you said you were done making music. You said, this is enough of me out there,
No, this is a misconstrued. I said I was done making house music.
Yeah, sorry, not making house music. That's right. Yes. You had made it clear for me, indeed. But
yeah, I had spent about 2.5 years on pyrography and a lot of money flying back and forth to Australia to get the art and everything done. So it came out, and this was the time of the free music when everybody was downloading and all this shit. It came out, and like within a week, it was on 80,000 sites. And it just fucking pissed me off, and it hurt me. I was like, man, I spent all this time, all this investing in people that are just getting it for free. And I was like, and then I looked at the genres of music. R&B, that wasn't happening. It was only electronic music, because at that time it was a lot of new DJs, bedroom DJs just coming up and all that. So everybody was just buying and getting everybody's stuff for free. And it was just, even you had friends, you give a friend some stuff, and then you find your shit in somebody else's set, and you're like, I know I didn't give that to that person, So that whole era just pissed me off about house music, because it was such a hoarding thing of where people had to have that song. They had to be the first one to play it. And that was just the DJ's thing. You didn't get that in any other genre of music. Hip hop wasn't like that. Pop was, nobody was, so So that was what that was about. But and then it's also,
I'm not supposed to send it to you, but play it low key, right? Don't play it
like, no, man, no. I'm just gonna not send it to you and just wait for the album to come out. But yeah, in the end, at the end, you say you're not gonna do something, but the universe knows better. Whatever feels you have, it comes when it comes. But yeah, I think that was definitely. And then I think now also, since that time, I was talking to Simon from Defected. We always go through these talks where we speak about the industry and how it changes and how we have to fucking stay on top of the new change. Like, I remember it was CDs before. After vinyl, it was CDs. Then it went to the free shit, the Napster shit, and the LimeWire and all that. And then to Apple. And then we were like, man, every time we're like, how are we going to make money? Now is the best time I can say of running the label. It's 21 years now. And I think it's because it's better avenues. It's more honest people doing it, because now the people that are pressing records, distributors are still kind of wham, but we won't talk about that. But distributors pressing plants are, they're as far as that. And at least we're making a living. We're not making people may think because they see us or they hear us that we have this lavish life, or that we may. It's like, no, man, we're hand to pocket to build to just like you, we just have the benefit. We just have the benefit of having great situations to explore because of the music, and we have opportunities, and that's the beauty of being able to meet people and to share, what we do. But
But,
it's a hard fucking life. It's a hard life, man.
No, it is. But I mean, one thing that one can definitely say is that the body of work that you've give life to and that you've accumulated, that you 100% own, is something that is yours and allows you, I guess, to keep your head above the water, or at least leave without having to maybe worry. Like some of the new kids that are just coming in the game now, and they're they left everything just to make this music, which is where I always tell people, it's like, y'all gotta understand, if you don't work on your craft, you are not going to be able to really reap the benefit of the efforts that you've put into your work. And so one thing that one can definitely and must definitely agree on is that the consistency of your work has actually, speaks volume. And talking just about that, one thing that you did that blew the mind of the whole game. Now, for those of us watching who are not necessarily into this conversations, just stay open. This is what it is about. We're going to talk about so many different things tonight, but like, I want you to tell us about Afefe Iku. Because when Afefe Iku appeared, look, it's just one of those things. It's like it's a stellar manifestation.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that. So that's always I can't say it's more than a moniker. It's actually a spirit of me that appears, and music is different. It's harder, it's more aggressive. It's it just happens that way, and it's or it's very open and cinematic. It's a different thing, and it's always very fast. It always comes like, I'll do an album in 3 days of Afefe. It just comes, just the sound of it, or it's things that I'll make, and I'm like, yeah, that's an Afefe Kuta, because it's just a moment, and it's a darker part of me, I guess, you can say.
It's so contagious. It's dark, not in a bad way, because I think
no, not in a bad way. It's just it's really like, okay, it's underneath the heart, it's like, okay, it's more of it's a force. It's like a heavy wind, So
it's the best island. Who can?
I never think of it.
The whole shebang, come on, bro.
Yeah. It just comes up. So,
man, and I guess anyone who has experienced you even DJing live, it's always, even when you're not necessarily feeling that anyone who like me is really a big like follower of your sound and follower of your work. I'll know when you're not 100% in your energy, and but you always just manage to deliver with spirit and intention. It's just something else. It's like, and that is very. That was always.
I think it's because of the music. There's always so much great music that I'm like, because for me, I'm like, all right, I want to be an alchemist here. I want to mix I want to mix things that shouldn't go together and make them work and create different rhythms with those. So I think that's always like the mindset for me, as well as, I want to get these people to shake their ass. But yeah, I think it's more about, this tune shouldn't, this rhythm on this tune shouldn't go there, but let's see what happens. So yeah, I love it though. I love DJing. I mean, it's been interesting doing the Twitch thing, because, you've been doing it. You managed to get, you still have the community, you still have the communication, and you still have the energy. It's definitely different, but it's still there. I did a gig last September, an actual gig, and it was so good just to have that energy of the people, in front of you and dancing. So I can't wait to get more of those going.